Teşekkür ederim. Sorry about the last minute change. Erkan Erdemir couldn't make it. I was asked to chair the session. So our first paper is Consumers' Rights, Justice and Sustainable Development of Markets by Ali Akbar Jaferi from Strathclyde University and Özlem Sandıkçı from Istanbul Şehir University. Ali Akbar will present the paper, and Bayram Zafer Erdoğan from Anadolu University will be discussing the paper. Please. Yeah. Go on.
İlk önce merhabalar, bayanlar, beyler. Benim Türkçem konferans konuşmak için çok iyi değil. Onun için izninizle İngilizce konuşacağım. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to thank the organizers of the conference, every single person who was involved in actually providing this fantastic experience for all of us. My co-author, Professor Özlem Sandıkçı from this university, is not here, but she said that she will join us tomorrow. So apologies on our behalf. Today we had really fantastic presentations. I'm not an economist, and my knowledge of economics is very, very tiny. My background is marketing, but before then I was in a very different area of humanities in English literature, which has got nothing to do with marketing. And before then, I was a practitioner of marketing, and I was a salesperson from 9 years old, when I was 9 years old. And in my business career, before becoming an academic, I was traveling for export, and Turkey was one of the main markets. So this paper is actually based on my observations. We do not have any empirical data yet, but I thought it would be a very nice topic to share with you, because although I'm very much interested in developing theory, but I pay a lot of attention to practical things, to pragmatics, because the way I see from the market is not, for example, Istanbul's Kapalı Çarşı or Tehran's Grand Bazaar or the big shopping malls. Because of my job now, I travel to Dubai twice a year. And what I'm personally interested in is not the shopping malls, but those who build the shopping malls. At the end of the day, those who build the shopping malls become invisible because of the disadvantage that they have in the market. So, and this is what I teach my students, trying to tell them, okay, do not see the market, see the invisible in the market. So that was the idea that Özlem and I shared, and we decided to share this idea with you. So this is actually kind of rough presentation of our idea. We are interested in collecting data. This is theoretical. And as the morning sessions and sessions before this one, they were really going well with so much heated debates. I would welcome the same if you can give us any idea that we can actually build a future paper based on this. I go straight away to the question that we are interested in. People talk about marketing all the time. Özlem and I are editing a book. Özlem and I are editing a book on critical perspectives on Islamic marketing. And this is again the question that we are interested in. What makes a socio-economic system Islamic, basically? And this morning, Professor Orhan? No, Orman, yes, Professor Orman talked about very interesting thing, and that's about historical view of what the market is, looking at things from a historical perspective. And I think it's a very critical thing to understand where we come from, but I think more interesting than that is the way to go ahead, because we're not going to stick to history. And as we know, there are many debates going on about different perspectives on analyzing things that are related to Islam, but they're not necessarily Islamic, the same interesting distinction that was made. Islam's economy or Islamic economy. The same is true about market. And Özlem and me and a couple of colleagues in Turkey and in Monash University in Malaysia, we're working on this, pushing this idea of looking at these things from a critical perspective. And this is a kind of critical view that we have towards current marketing debates. So basically what makes a socioeconomic system Islamic, we're looking at it from a marketing perspective, which has some things in common when we talk about market, because as I will go through quickly, because I know everybody's tired and we're going to just wrap up things quickly. I'll give you a short background and say why we're interested in this. And the reason is that when we look at the new flow of knowledge in marketing and business studies in general, management, there is this interest on developing new knowledge which is related to the Islamic. So what the Islamic is, that's a different debate, and I would like to skip it here because then it would make things more complicated. And I'm not intending to oversimplify things, by the way. And more interestingly, you look at this growing knowledge, everything is about growth of markets. So people write about growing population of Muslims, increasing disposable income, typically going to oil-rich countries. And they write about expansion of consumerism, giving examples of Turkey in academic papers and also practitioners' presentations. Malaysia, UAE, and typical cliche things on how Arabs, for example, spend their money. And also increasing mobility, because when people become rich, what they do, they travel a lot. So we have a big trend in tourism going on. People write about tourism and trying to target oil-rich countries and Muslim populations. I've picked these from recent websites, but I hope that I'm capable of communicating what I want to say, that what you see is money, money, money. So people look at a market, the value of markets in Muslim contexts, and I avoid using Islamic context because we talk about Muslim geography, sorry, not necessarily Islamic context. We have, for example, Ogilvy Noor, a globally famous company, a consultancy company, and even them, what they're trying to do is to promote how profitable Islamic markets are. And I repeat that, they focus on Islamic markets instead of Muslim geographies. So basically everything is about money, how much they're worth. So the key point here is that, okay, people have started to write about Islamic marketing, and that's become a kind of fashion recently during the past 6-7 years. They try to, in a way, Islamize knowledge in markets, which is one of the criticisms that people like Özlem, me, and another colleague, Ahmet Suardem at Bilgi University, we have, is that okay? There are good things because they started with creating knowledge that would then contribute to proliferation of Sharia-compliant products and services. Great. A colleague in Qatar University, Professor Al-Sarhan, he, for example, has started a debate about the halal tourism, which is a necessity, so we're not denying that. You look at the typical case of KitKat, for example, halal food come to the market, or financial services, even HSBC, they started, well, Amana doesn't exist now in most countries, they have replaced them with new products. Tourism, a very big market, but please let's look at what tourism is for. Tourism is for those people who can actually afford traveling, right? So, again, the point is that we're talking about the visible market, what we call. Those people who can afford things, not the invisible, the poor. Now, they moved with creating actually halal products from, let's say, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and then now the focus is on halalization of the process of production, dissemination, consumption, disposition of goods. And in this sector, they're looking at, for example, marketing operations. They're looking at supply chain management within marketing to halalize it, that it's not just the product, but also the process. These are great. Consequences. Consequences are different. There are positive ones, and the positive ones are okay. The whole concept of looking at Islamic marketing, or in a way, some critics say that it is a trend to Islamize knowledge, which again goes back, at least dates back 120 years ago, from the intellectuals in Tunisia and Egypt. If we go back to their studies, that is not the case. Okay, these debates, good. They create new positive things, such as enriching market content. So we have new products and services. We have options for consumers, which is fantastic. This new knowledge about the Islamic, particularly in marketing, I'm not going to economics, because that's far beyond my talk, is that this new knowledge also creates competitiveness amongst businesses in Muslim geographies and also in non-Muslim majority contexts. Trying to, for example, pursue the idea of producing halal brands. It also stimulates innovation, new products, new services, new processes. That's again great. And it also creates new managerial knowledge, not simply about operations, but management in general. But the downside of this is that many critics argue that this is actually exploitation of market opportunities at the expense of local businesses. If you read articles published by academics in marketing, when it comes to a typical thing in academia we do, at the end we have to come with implications, managerial implications, for example, and we come to giving implications for managers and businesses. The most, in a way, let's say, cliche thing that you find is giving implications, providing implications for foreign international businesses entering Muslim context. Cliche. But what they do, and if you again read articles in critical marketing management context, post-colonial approach, this kind of trend, they highly criticize that, because they look at the resource-based theory and institutional theory, etc., saying that, okay, they don't exist. MNEs, multinational enterprises coming to countries that do not have the foundations for a fair competition. So local businesses, in a way, they go away. The second threat is consumerism. Well, there was a debate going on whether we are done with production so that now we go into consumerism and consumeristic debates. Because my background, my main research area is consumer research and consumerism, this is a very interesting case, because consumerism, people argue, okay, for example, we look at new fashions and trends emerging in many Muslim geographies, is that, okay, market is producing for people what they want, but simply putting a label Islamic does not make it Islamic. And there is market opportunism, because what we see in the market is consumerism, looking at it from economic perspective. Consumption is equal to destruction. So production is valued, but consumption is not valued, right? But the critique that people like me have is that, again, I emphasize, just using the name Islamic does not make it Islamic, and sometimes make it anti-Islamic. That's the key point, because there's difference between consumption and consumerism, and I'll come to that later on. Now, there has been so much focus, please stop me whenever I, okay. Focus on, 5 minutes left? Yeah. I thought it was 5 minutes gone. Okay. Focus on market contents. I think there has been too much focus on market contents in the area related to Islamic business, Islamic management, Islamic marketing, perhaps some parts related to Islamic economics. Because we ignore these structural things, we focus on market contents. And my colleague Ahmed has written a fantastic piece on, from a critical perspective on the notion of Islamic, and he argues that these new trends in knowledge creation that oversimplify things, the Islamic and non-Islamic, they're creating ethnocentric behavior, putting the case as though human beings are essentially different, Muslim, non-Muslim. That is not the case. A lady there mentioned, and I very much support that, yeah, when Quran is global, universal, so why should it be then Islamic, non-Islamic, or Muslim, non-Muslim? If something is good, it should be good for all human beings, not necessarily Muslims or the other way around. And the biggest threat is, again, that if we enter this kind of zone, we forget the pressing areas of social reality. Because social reality is different from what we want. So there are things that we want, there are things that exist, and this is what we ignore. We have nepotism, we have environmental issues going on, we have issue of overconsumption that is hitting many Muslim geographies. So who is taking care of those? And creating stereotypes. By stereotypes, because when I teach, our students, for example, at Strathclyde, they come from 18, 20, sometimes 30 nationalities. The first question that I ask when I teach cross-cultural biobehavior is, to give me an example. The first example, you see what they give is scarf for ladies, right? So this is cliched, and I'm not sure if people in this room actually are, how many of you come from marketing background, but in marketing, there is this Islamic marketing thing creating more stereotypes about Muslims, right? Now, that is why we came with this idea, Islam and I, that we said, okay, we are not against market development. What we are for is sustainable development of market. Because in today's market, we're dealing with a macro marketing perspective which looks at the pressing areas of inquiry that are the problems of human beings in Muslim geographies. Well, one of the things that we looked at is absence of consumer protection associations in Muslim geographies, Muslim majority contexts. And there's an institutional void. A colleague was talking about institutional. Yes, in this particular context, we have institutional void because market is developing but not in a sustainable way. And our question is, then how can it claim that it's Islamic? Because we ignore sometimes majority of the population, not the minority. Because when I look at these, and this is what actually I tell my students in the class, I don't think about the visible market. I look at my own aunt, who is living in a very small village in the northwest of Iran, near the border of Turkey, and areas that do not yet have electricity. So that's a consumer too, right? So there are many reasons for this kind of institutional void. Why institutional void? Because consumption has not been established in a sophisticated way. A majority, forget about Turkey, West Turkey, or Malaysia, or Singapore, or some Jakarta, or Dubai, or Persian Gulf countries. Consumption has not been studied carefully from a market perspective. We're not looking at economic perspective, because from economic perspective, people have written a lot about consumption. But that is what is the reality, as I will quickly mention that. I'm not going to this because I'm sure majority of you know this, but from an Islamic perspective history, if you look at it, during the time of Prophet, we had fantastic Consumer Protection Act going on, right? Many historians know that. What happened to that? Now this is the point we can go back to history and see what was going on and why in today's society, for example, in 1961, I'll come to that, sorry. If there's a fantastic article, especially if there are PhD students would be interested in, that was a fantastic article talking about consumer rights in the Islamic context. What you would see, these are the key points that I've highlighted here, is all about well-being of society at large. And who is responsible? The government. The government is the welfare state needs to take care of this, again looking at it from an institution perspective. Now, there are many issues today going on in the West, but we have historically all of these in a perfect form. If you go to the organization of markets, to the early Islamic history, how people's rights in the market were protected massively, then it would be actually a shame to see why we don't have it now. Why the Consumer Rights Charter started in the US in 1961 with John F. Kennedy. The basics were there, then it was developed, three, four slides left only. That idea of Charter for Consumer Rights was developed later on by many organizations and international associations. It is an ongoing debate, still continuing that to further develop the Consumer Protection Charter. In Muslim geographies, again, it's a shame to see that, no, we're not developed, we're underdeveloped from a consumer protection perspective. Because people mainly are either unaware of that, they don't know what their rights in the market, and basically they're not aware of their rights in the market. Two main countries that have somehow established, Turkey and Malaysia, but again, for different reasons. If you look at literature, Malaysia basically because it was to protect the halal concept, that is how it developed, and in Turkey, in line with the European legislations. So even if a country like Malaysia, mostly what we see, this consumer protection is not for the welfare of society at large. It is to secure the investor's money. That is what research shows. As I said, we don't have empirical data yet, but that is, I'm very anxious about to find out what's going on. So, other countries? No, the charter is there, like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Persian Gulf area countries, and the rest, they have. But the problem is implementation. Who is in charge? Another question.
Ali Akbar.
1 minute?
Wrap it up.
Okay. It is related to many other issues, such as human rights, degree of economic freedom, presence of NGOs, technological infrastructure, legislative advancements. I skipped this 2 or 3 slides. The point here is that when we talk about Consumer Protection Act, it's not just the surface level. We talk about low-income people, we talk about less educated people, we talk about uneducated people, about children, about the elderly, those with special needs. And my final point is, right, when we talk about norms, our dear professor was talking about norms, Islamic norms. Great, I completely agree with that. But when sometimes through this, when we use it or misuse it, the norms, through creating or in an oversimplified way, Islamic knowledge, we are trying to normalize Islam as though Islam is an abnormal thing, and we try to aesthetically make it more beautiful to the West. Who cares about the West? If we look at the problems that we have, and people have, why should it be imported from other countries when Islam has a context? Again, I say it's not nice just to say we have it, but what have we done with it? So the ground is there. Implementation is more important. So and something that I didn't see coming up today, that everybody was in a way talking about market. From marketing, the way we see it, and we are a group of people in critical marketing studies, we look at market, not economy, but market society, right? And if there's more discussion, I'm more than glad to talk about it. The final point, yes, market society is important, because when you talk about consumer rights, rights need new legitimization. And how does it happen? Who is responsible? So these are the kind of questions that we're looking at, and I hope that we can collect some nice data to basically uh, prepare a good, a decent project. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you for nice presentation. Now I'll give the mic to Zafer Erdoğan to discuss the paper.
Thank you so much, dear chair, and thank you for the presentation. There is nothing that I disagree with, so I don't know what to do now. But I should start with my appreciation of this atelier. This is the first time that I have been something similar to this. And I think this is very important that we have this kind of meetings, workshops, and ateliers. And therefore, I think I owe thanks, and I should show my appreciation to most probably the organizers sitting in front. As you can relate to my position, everything that is said is that you agree. So how do you discuss? So I will talk about something different, but it will relate to it. Plus, he's a fellow Strathclyder that I did my PhD, so my job becomes even harder. But I'll start, yeah? And most probably you'll help, and your questions will lead us somewhere, and we will wrap it up in 10 minutes, you said, yeah? All right. So I would start, we all know that Islam is a peaceful religion, even though it is depicted vice versa by the media and international forces and so on. Yeah. Do we accept that? You know, Islam is a peaceful religion, even though we are perceived vice versa. But I use the term peace, not only the opposite term of war, but the peace as caring for others in any kind of exchange relationships. Being in peace with the customers, being in peace with our competitors. So peace, a broader term rather than the opposite of war. I'll start from there, and do not think that I am a professor of economics or religion, and my knowledge of these both subjects, fields, are very little, unfortunately. But what I teach is marketing, and it relates to it. And I believe everyone within this room believes that peace requires social justice. And this social justice is most probably one of the first, Islam is one of the first to provide to people. Of course, when I say Islam, I'm not talking the Islam that Prophet, peace be upon him. I'm talking about Islam from the Hazrat Adam and onwards, yeah? So, but unfortunately, we Muslims have diverted from the original teachings of Islam. Of course, now I should take it to Islam that deletes Quran and Sunnah, and we regard equality of human beings something that is dealt with by the Westerners, which is not true. As Ali Akbar, can I call you Ali? Ali, yeah. Ali was saying, this was there. We have forgotten those. We have not been using those. And we have a great foundation in human rights, justice, and almost everything that is being sold to us now as new, or we have had those. Unfortunately, we have forgotten, and we didn't have the importance of those values. When I go back to the papers, they argue that globalization, along with modernism, neoclassic economic developments, have increased the interest in Muslim world. And I have a problem with this. The term Islamic marketing, Islamic economics, I believe marketing is marketing, Islam is Islam, economics is economics, and Islam is Islam. So in our terms, I will not get into economics because I don't know much about it. marketing is something that creates value to all parties in an exchange relationship. So it doesn't matter whether you are marketing to Christians, Jewish, or Turks, or Muslims. Why don't we call Christian marketing? Why don't we have Jewish marketing or economics? Is that because they have invented marketing? Not really. Because if you look back, you'll see marketing is as old as human beings' creation. In a broad sense, of course. If you think marketing as selling something to someone else, then you can even go to Adam and Eve, most probably. But I'm not talking about that sense. I'm talking about a broad sense, creating value to all parties in an exchange relationship. So I don't agree with the term Islamic marketing, but marketing to Muslims is a better word, I would think. And I was saying marketing is an old, as old as human beings' creation. There are so many examples, and one example from the great Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is 90% of income or risk comes from tijara. And the modern word for tijara is marketing. Therefore, if we are talking about Islamic marketing, we should be talking about marketing to other religions, Hindu marketing, Christian marketing, Jewish marketing, and I don't think I'm making sense now. So marketing is marketing, and religions should be. And the basic is that marketing, the basic that we teach to our students and in research is that, you have to respect your customers. Customer comes first. Therefore, if you are marketing to Muslims, then you have to respect their culture. You have to respect their religion. You have to respect their values, as you were indicating also too. My second question is, the consumer protection that you were talking about should be institutionalized. I don't think anyone is disagreeing with this. But my question is it something like what goes around comes around kind of event? We all know that Westerners came to East. They have taken our riches, not the herbs only, our riches in life, the behavior, the way that we conduct our tijara, our economy, and they have perfected this, and now they are trying to show us this is as if something new. And I would discuss that, customer protection or consumer protection or protection the rights of others was from the beginning of Islam. Every Friday, Imam at the end of khutbah recites a verse from Quran. It starts and tells us that we have to be adil and caring for others, starting from our family. And adalet, or being just, comes before treating our families or others well. So if you are adil, if you are just, then you'll be protecting the rights of the others also too, because otherwise, you are most probably not going to where we are all hoping to go. And, all those things that I talk may come to you very romantic, yeah? And can we apply those things? Of course we can. For 600 years, Ahi organizations were the main power behind Ottoman Empire's success. For 600 years, Ahi organizations that I have taught before, Professor knows, and for 600 years, this system worked, and that system enabled Ottoman Empire to rule the world. 2 minutes? All right, more than enough. So what I need to do, most probably, I promised him that I will talk about economics also too. We need to think about in our terms, and we shouldn't be thinking about these classical economists. And we all know these economists, they worship competition, survival of the fittest. Of course, this is, I'm not trying to blame Westerners or Protestant ethics or the way that Protestant economics works, but it is not for us. Let's face it. Islam is a social and just religion, and competition is there in a free market economy, but there's collaboration also too. We have so many sayings, we have so many stories told that if your neighbor is hungry, then you're not one of us. So it says a social collaboration is there. Of course, there's competition, but there is regulation also too. One of the presentation before me had the regulations, and one good example is when Prophet, peace be upon him, was in the market. There was the wheat, it was soaked in the water, and Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "You are not one of us." So if you are trying to soak the wheat and sell because it will weigh more, therefore there is regulation also too. But for all of those to become and be together, competition, collaboration, and regulation, there needs to be ahlak first, ethics, because ethics is the one that gets everything together. You may be saying that, you know, we human beings are selfish and greedy. How can we get that? That's not my job. I'll leave that to sociologists and professors of religion. Thank you.
Thank you for the discussion. So I'm not going to respond to his remarks about economics as an economist. Anyway, do you have anything to say about?
No, I agree.
Okay.
Stratified, I cannot say
Oh, okay. Okay. Then we can
the same university.
we can accept the questions, comments, and contributions. You was first.
Thank you so much for the discussion and presentation. I'm also agree with the what Hoja say about the classical economics, because I also learned in my study in economics development in Marmara University. I read some article from Susan George and David Harvey about the capitalisms, and that is true about the competitions that, if I'm not wrong, that Margaret Thatcher in the from the UK is like promote the competitions inside the capitalism theory, because she wants to like expand the capitalism to worldwide. And I am also agree with the statement that competitions will born to inequality between the poor peoples and the rich peoples, and there is like different gap. The deep gap between among them. And my question about the consumer. I am from Indonesia, and in my country we also like labelize most of the products in a halal, because there is like guaranteed from one of our institutions that the product is good for us, for consumer. And but there is a questions about the market behavior. In the demand side, about the consumerisms. in your opinion, Hoja, I want to know about what is the role of market society or market behavior in the context of the consumerisms, because I think that consumerism is also depend on the consumer itself. So what is the exactly role of of the social behavior or social market itself? And the second is, how do you see about the phenomena today about the consumerisms regarding into the Islamic economic? Because we know that uh, I mean, most of the people thinks about the consumerism is the negative issue. I mean, negative way. So, what is your view about that in regarding about the Islamic economic? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very interesting questions. Is it on? Yeah. Excuse me, what is your background? What you were studying?
I'm studying in developmental economics in Marmara University.
Okay, I'll make it very short. The answer. There are different debates going on about consumerism, right? Consumerism from a negative perspective, consumerism from positive perspective. So the positive ones are about consumption, not necessarily consumerism. When you add ism, it makes it negative, and it goes back to the modernist perspective of consumption versus production, right? So to clarify this, when I said market society, there's a distinction between market economy and market society. In market society, everything is for sale, right? Market economy is safer, it's more positive. Market society has a negative connotation. So this is second distinction. About behavior of people, when we talk about market society, the society in general is becoming market society, beginning from the US and then West Europe and then moving towards other countries. Who is responsible? There's a fantastic book. I was talking to Professor Erdogan about this, that is written by Richard Very and his colleague, called Humanistic Marketing. Who is responsible? Everybody's responsible. What is the role of a state? The role of a state is, there was this question that I think Professor raised about, or it was you or someone else, about regulations in the market. And the point is that governments can deregulate. Deregulation itself is regulating. You know what I mean? When you deregulate, you put new regulations. The state has responsibilities as long as they do not interfere in free market from an ethical perspective, free market economy. Consumers are responsible themselves too, right? The point that I mentioned is time is too short to actually go into depth, but people talk about corporate social responsibility. There's a terminology that I used in one of my recent publications. I said collective social responsibility. So it's not about corporate. Corporate is a pretext for people to blame capitalism. But I think people inherently, they have responsibility. Everyone, you and me sitting here. We cannot just blame the system. So I think that answers the question, if I'm right? I blended both questions. Did I?
Sorry.
Or I'm missing something?
Okay.
Yeah.
If we say like this, if I can say like this, we know that capitalism and a free market is, what you say, the intervention for the government is less to the market. You said that government, what is the role of government to about this context is making like regulations and some things like that.
Look, if governments do not let, one of the key things that people talk about Russia, the Soviet Union being disappearing, was the force of consumerism, was not the political force, right? So if you don't let the market open, it will create a problem. If you let it open, it will create a problem. So the thing is creating balance. Who is responsible? There are different views. If you look at it from political perspective, or everything is political. From my perspective, nothing is non-political.
Okay, thank you, Arif. Okay, well, please. Can you take the mic, please?
if you have more questions, my colleague Özlem is coming tomorrow, by the way. You can ask her more.
Okay, thank you. My name is Ahmad Afandi. I'm from Northern University of Malaysia. Thank you very much for excellent presentation on marketing. There is kind of perception, I think, if I might call to anyone that we agree on the perception of Islam as a way of life. So whenever we are talking about the marketing, we have to relate to the perception or to the opinion that Islam is a way of life. So whenever we are talking about the Islam as a way of life, then it is comprising of three aspects. We have what we call as akhlaq, ibadah, and also sharia. And under this part sharia, it has some components. For example, mu'amalah. We have fiqh mu'amalah. We have what we call ibadah mu'amalah, and so on and so on. And then whenever we are talking about the mu'amalah, then we understand it is actually human interaction. Whenever we are talking about the marketing, it is actually talking about the human interaction. So what I'm trying to say is, if I relate to both of you, then I maybe that there is what they call misconception of marketing or Islamic marketing itself. Whenever we agree that marketing is a part of economics, or maybe it is a kind of a discipline, then there has be some sort of differences compared to the conventional ones. And marketing is not only talking about the objects. For example, if you are talking about the halal food, we are talking about this scarf for the or woman Muslim and so on, right? So when we agree that marketing is a kind of discipline, then of course there are some sort of differences, right? And if there is a differences, all right, can we regulate in Islamic economics regarding the marketing is like other part of economics? Suppose, for example, the price, right? How the price intervention by the government, for example, how the role of muhtasib or the government itself, where the task of the government is to oversee, to monitor, to evaluate the marketing or the economic activity in one country, and so on and so on, right? So it is very scarce, or it is very rare whenever we are talking about the Islamic marketing in the aspect of what they call literature, for example, or maybe what they call theoretical, and also it is about the empirical study on and so on. So back again to my question is, if there is a differences in Islam and in conventional, right? Can we regulate in the marketing according to the Islam? I'm not referring to the theory one. To the theory, yes, we agree there is a conduct, there is a norms, there is a values, and so on, right? But we want something which is very different compared to the conventional one.
Yeah. Disagreement is nice, because if we don't disagree, we cannot come up with something new. I'm not against Islamic marketing. I'm saying there are more important things to do. Many people in this room, I think they're familiar with Rumi, Maulana. He has a very nice saying, which says, "Ya olduğun gibi görün, ya göründüğün gibi ol." It means either look to the world as you are, or be as you look to the world, right? I've like many of you, I've worked in different industries and traveled in many countries, and I get quite disappointed when I see how businesses take advantage of the word Islamic. So that's my key point. Islamic marketing, it doesn't make sense to me. Sell halal food, but in a non-halal way, right? There are many people, wheelchair users, who cannot access a shop. So how can a shopkeeper claim that his business practice is Islamic? In 21st century, 2014, if a shop doesn't have access to a wheelchair user, or a person, because of being old, uneducated, is disadvantaged in the market. And look at business practices in markets in early Islamic era, you don't see these things. What I'm saying is we have to move on. Just making something Islamic is not gonna help. it by default it is business. You go to Blue Mosque, it says Al-Qasib Habibullah, right? A businessman is God's friend. It is there. Why are we sticking to this? That's what I don't understand. There are many things going on, and in critical perspectives, people have done massive things. And because it's a fantastic workshop, and this is a good opportunity for everybody to come up with something new, just to, you know. I'm not against it. What I'm saying is we have to move on.
Okay, thank you.
One more thing.
You want to answer? Okay.
One more. If marketers are doing their marketing right, they will be regulating themselves, or they will be arranging themselves to Islamic rules. That's what I was trying to say, actually. Yeah. So, if you are doing right marketing, you will arrange to your customers. If your customers are Muslims, then you have to respect their culture, their values, and the way that they expect the value from you. So that's what I was saying. I was saying market or marketing equilibrium. So I was saying 4 aspects of marketing equilibrium: the competition, regulation, collaboration, and ethics or ahlak. All of them should be together, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you. Gentleman over there.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Amr Maraka. I'm coming from Jordan. I'm studying now here in Turkey. First of all, I would like to thank you so much for the clear presentation. It was maybe the first simple presentation I have seen here, because everything is a bit complicated. So I have one comment and one question. One comment coming from an Arabic country, speaking Arabic and knowing the Arabic language. I was thinking that the problem of phrases and how to say, because Arabic language is a very poetic and long language, Arabic people love to talk and love to talk too much, you know. Really, this is a fact. Yeah, this is a fact. So I was recently in the current Muslim world, I'm seeing this problem. People are leaving the core issues, the important issues about akhlaq and manners, and just trying to talk too much about things, giving manifestations of everything, like Islamic marketing, like the things you have talked about just right now. Apparently, like I can see this outside even the Arabic words, even outside the Arabic word, people are trying to use the language to do maybe marketing for the phrases, I don't know, but it does not have any point. Marketing is marketing, it's clear. Islamic marketing is, how to say, it's to be in a true way, in a how to say, in a justified way, justice way. So this is one question. I wish we can move on, just as you said.
Hopefully.
This is the first one. The second thing which I liked so much, being an architect and moving to the marketing sector now, I'm here in Turkey, moving to the marketing sector, it was interesting for me. You have mentioned the idea of micro-scale marketing. And I would like you to explain a bit, because you were a bit fast because of the timing, the idea of the micro-scale marketing and how can it be applied to bring social justice in the community. Thank you so much.
30 seconds.
Well, yeah, we don't have so much time, so let's
maybe-
make it short.
Yeah,
please.
maybe we can
Sure.
take the conversation
Yeah,
outside
yeah,
later. But just briefly say that macro marketing is a very interesting journal of macro marketing. It's celebrating 30th year of publications. It looks at basically the core is social justice, right? Looking at market in macro marketing, the idea is that people do not live in the market. People do not live for the market. People live in the market, right? And the forerunner of this idea is Professor Fuat Firat, who is now in Texas University. He's from Turkey. He has been the founder of this idea that we are living in the market, not for the market. So let's look at human beings as human beings. not consumer producer, blah blah. So we can maybe discuss that.
Okay, thank you for presentation, discussion, and questions. Is it short? Because we don't have, we have to stop at. Okay, okay. Then the last one. Just make an exception.
Özgün Burak Kaymakçı from Istanbul University. If we consider the political parties as commodities and the politicians as marketers under the idea of halal, which ethical perspectives can be accepted as the constraints of this competition? And I ask this question because some political Islamists follow such strategies on the assumption that deception is legitimate in the war. Do you have a study on this concept, or do you have a intention to expand your studies to that subject? Thank you very much.
I answer the second question. I first leave the first question to Professor Erdoğan, because if you want me to get stuck in Turkey, I will answer the first question. No, I haven't, but I'm very much interested in the study. I mean, that's my main research area, looking at markets from a political perspective. Political parties, it is called political marketing, and I'm not expert. People at University of East London, no, yeah. People are expert in political marketing, looking at it, whether it's halal or no.
So you get the reference. Okay, thank you. We have little presents for you guys.
Thank you very much.
Before you leave.
So, teşekkürler. Sağ olun, teşekkürler.
Our next paper is by Mansur Yegani from Tehran University. It's titled as Investigation into Relationship Between Socioeconomic Values and Architectural Features in Traditional Bazaars of Islamic Sites. And Faruk Bal, Dr. Faruk Bal from Istanbul Medeni.
My paper is investigation into relationship between socio-economic values and architectural features in traditional bazaars of Islamic cities. I studied architecture and urban design, so I don't have any economical knowledge, and I am only interested in social, cultural, and economical dimensions of built environment. In this paper, I studied social and economical aspects of traditional bazaars in Islamic societies from the viewpoint of an architect and urban designer. Considering we don't have much time, I have to present my paper fast.
Yeah, please.
Yes,
We have
yeah.
20 minutes.
Okay.
Just
As you know, one of the most well-known traditional architecture and urban planning patterns is bazaars. Bazaar is a civic phenomenon and at the same time is a factor for urbanization and always feeder and supplier active town. Bazaar contains all aspects of all parts of the city, such as social, religious, and cultural, economical, physical, and political ones. Most activities and exchanges in the city happen in bazaar. The claim of this study is that there are significant and meaningful relationships between social and economical values of bazaar with architectural values. The main rules of traditional bazaars can be classified in 4 main subjects: 1, economical, political, social, cultural, and religious roles. All these are directly related to architectural and physical features of bazaar. In this chart, you see 4 dimensions of bazaars: social dimensions, religious and cultural dimension, physical dimension, and the economical dimension. In social dimension, we have face-to-face meetings, social trust, social capital, social media, social ties and networks, norms, interlinking of the world and the hereafter, trust, security, and the sense of security, recognitions, acceptance, judging of trusters. And in religious and cultural dimensions, we have prayer and worship. Religious ceremonies celebrate Islamic holidays such as Ramadan, Eidullah, rituals, religious symbols and signs, religious training, and Quranic training. In economical dimensions, we have microfund, local fund, WACF or WAKIF, characteristics, economic transparency, trade control, credit, simultaneity of production and supply, belonging to products and manufacturers and sellers of products, and the lack of alienations. And all of these values are related to physical dimensions. We are mosque, religious elements, shops, plazas, roads, lighting, religious schools, libraries, offices of guilds, office of dispute, religious, reminding of God by elements and motifs, forms, symbols, public spaces, backbone of the city. All these values are in the traditional bazaar. The methodology of this paper is I used a phenomenological approach in the macro level of the study, and the descriptive, explanatory, and historical method in the theoretical level, survey research method in experimental level, and the analytical techniques contains quantitative and qualitative analysis in techniques. Data collection method is referring to scientific literature and documents in the theoretical level, and the survey method through surveying traditional bazaars. We have 3 units of analysis contains Islamic cities, bazaars, scientific documents and situation, and Iranian traditional bazaars and other Islamic societies. Traditional bazaars as a great and effective economics and social institution have long history and important role in the Eastern communities, especially in Iran and other countries. Bazaars are the most effective urban agencies and organizations. They are always externally considered by geographies, tourists, and travelers. Bazaars constitute the backbone of the city's economy, and in some cases are related to administration of daily social activity and mobility, and other needs of community has been the beating heart of commodity exchange. Thus, in bazaar, there is a deep relationship between business, trading, science, and ethics in Islamic culture. Bazaar usually is located along the main routes of the city and extended to the city center. In this picture, you see Tehran Bazaar, and it make the structure of city. It start from the gate of city and end to a comprehensive mosque in in the major cities in Iran. In these plans, you can see the structure of Isfahan Bazaar. It contains all of the structure of city. And the socio-economic values of bazaars. Bazaars have many valuable characteristics in very diversity dimensions. Social and economical values are highlighting which this topic, this paper focused on them. Values I studied in this paper contains bazaar as a social media and social system, microfund and local funds in bazaar, social capital, Waqf in the traditional bazaar, guilds in bazaar, and financial transparency. Bazaar as a social media, the major channel between citizens in addition to the exchange of goods and capital, the maximum amount of information, the exchange of news and inform the public or government reached was in these public spaces. In the past, bazaar was a place for transfer of customs, traditions, ideas, and practices of social behaviors and social life. During national celebrations and religious holidays, bazaar considered as the most important location for them. The next values for traditional bazaar is microfund and local funds in the bazaars. Microfund is one of the greatest economically and socially achievements of traditional bazaars. As you know, existence of social capital is essential to the success of microfinance and the local funds. There is mutual trust between merchants and citizens that caused the people to be actively participation in the formation microfunds. Traditional markets are very much capable of producing and maintaining social capital among their citizens. Main reasons for these subjects are great face-to-face meetings, spirituality among merchants and markets, despite strong social ties between citizens, good experiencing transactions, common sense, the sense of belonging to the city, shared experience and the memories, prefer collective interests and individual interests. Based on the fundamental principles of economics, one of the most important ways to empower the lower stratum in society is community organizing, development of microeconomics and local funds. Microcredit as an effective tool in combating poverty and hunger has proven its capabilities and values. Small loans, saving accounts, and offer a variety of banking and financial services. We live low income and poor families that access to these services will increase their income. Therefore, they can protect themselves against unexpected barriers and improve their current living standards and nutrition and could intubation for their habitation and food, education of their children. Achieving this condition is among the main objectives of the third millennium, the poverty of human societies. The next values in traditional bazaar is social capitals. In the literature, there are two forms of social capital: bonding or closed social capital, bringing social capital, and linking social capital. Social capital as a catalyst for cooperation and coordination can be examined and discussed at three levels: primary level, micro scale, middle scale, and macro scale. Forms and elements of social capital in bazaars contains three dimensions: structural elements, cognitive elements, and relationship elements. In structural elements, we have network relationships and the configuration of network relationship. In relationship elements, we have trust, obligations, norms, and identification, and other elements. In totally, in the small size places, social capitals are more than large scale spaces based on combination of the most features of the society in a specific district of city, that means bazaar, level of mutual trust and participation, openness, and the sense of security externally are enhanced in the bazaars. In traditional markets, limited spaces between shops and the selling spaces, with the possibility of being open all the doors and watch the movement of the goods from the three groups, sellers, buyers, and the passers. Always there was the opportunity for vendors to provide all of the people's needs and should be aware of their preference. Thus, it may be a very big seller follows to small sellers' patterns. Moreover, small vendors had opportunity to develop their commercial activities. In this chart, economic prosperity and social capital has several values. We have norms, cooperative and religious participation. Because I don't have enough time, I have to go to next part. The next values in traditional bazaar is waqf or waqif. The term waqf literally means confinements and the prohibition or the causing a thing to stop or stand still. Waqf used to keep money or property together in private hands, a pooling of wealth to maintain private ownership. Waqf, in addition, has socially and economically important functions in daily life and urban activities, also has in physical aspects vital roles in shaping Islamic cities, especially Iranian cities and bazaars. In public spaces and if public spaces and public interests in the Iranian cities that constructs most of them by waqifs or funders, there will nothing remain more than a collection of discrete scattered houses, shops, and businesses, or in totally private spaces. We can search reasons of persistence, heritage of architecture, and urban planning over long periods to be devoted to the role of high culture thought of waqf. Waqf has two dimensions reflected in bazaars, physical and non-physical reflections. Non-physical reflections contains physical and spatial activities that are not directly related aspects, but also to help disadvantaged people in society, such as orphans, disabled, elders, and disabilities, prisoners, charity, education, caste, students, victims, education, treatment, patients, family, and family formation. Therefore, cities had higher endowments in their bazaars, have social and economical balance. Physical reflections of waqf contains buildings especially located in bazaars such as mosques, schools, libraries, health facilities, shops, water reservoirs, and baths. Guilds is the next values in bazaars, placement of one kind of production, special order of bazaar caused to form guild for this activity. Guilds are among of the major actors in bazaar, kind and order of establishing of the different guilds and occupation has a logical order in the urban bazaars of Iran. Sellers tend to set adjacent together because of many reasons, such as benefit from facilities and cooperation in actions and activities, possibility to competition with other vendors like goods, creating the possibility of choice for buyers considering price and quality of goods. One of the most
minutes, Mr. Regan. 2 minutes, two more minutes. Yeah.
2 minutes.
The
next value is financial transparency. In economic literature, the notion of transparency is defined timely and reliable information on the economic, social, political, and making it available to all stakeholders. Physical environment of the bazaar according to the Allah, fear of Yawmul Hisab, and morality governing the various elements of the bazaar makes it not only with financial incentives, but also with strong incentives God, and seeking to avoid the concealment of information to transparency. Architectural features of bazaars complexes root in the heart of organic context of city, and lateral branches running along their main roads and came to the gates of the city. The axis of bazaar is in the main part of the city based on responsibility for the most city life is wonder. Orders information of our traditional bazaar. Bazaars formed based on 6 orders: sacred order, air order, soil order, water order, plant order, and light order. I don't have time for present this subjects. Factors in the setting of activities: attractiveness, goods for citizens, goods that were attractive and had attracted a large customer usually seated in the main axis. Values of goods and required security. Values of goods were determinate location of them in the bazaars. Thus, then valuable commodities that require high security set close to downtown public and crowded places such as mosques. For conclusion, we can say unique architectural features such as the backbone of the city combined with the diverse and crowded land uses, spiritual architectural bazaar, combination of residential, commercial, religious, educational, and cultural uses, symbols existence, space for interaction and assembly and ceremonies, the use of a boarding practice, safety and security in night and day, has led the bazaar with the functionality and economic value. In the bazaar, jumbling spiritual and material dimensions of life, proper exchange of information and the free flow of the goods entering and leaving, and simultaneous combination of social, cultural, economic, and political factors are very important issues. Thank you very much for your attention and patience.
Okay, we thank Mr. Yagani for the presentation. Now, Faruk Bal will discuss the paper, but in Turkish. So, evet, çalıştım. Sen İngilizce şey yaparsın, cevap vermek istersin.
Mansur Yegane. Mansur Yegane'nin çalışmasını ben şu açıdan önemsedim. Disiplinler arası bir katkı sağlamaya çalışıyor alana. Özellikle İslami ekonomi alanına, genel anlamda iktisat alanına da bir katkı sağlamaya çalıştığını düşünebiliriz. Özel alan olarak da İslami alana disiplinler arası bir katkı sağlıyor. Bu açıdan Yegane'nin çalışmasını önemli buluyorum. Çünkü konu olarak pazarların, özellikle tarihi İslami şehirlerde bulunan klasik kapalı çarşıların mimari özellikleriyle bunların ekonomik ve sosyal değerlerini, sahip oldukları sosyal değeri ilişkilendirmeye çalışmış ki bu da gerçekten İslami ekonomi çalışmalarına güzel bir katkı olarak görüyorum. Yine Yegane'nin burada sunumunda gördüğümüz şekliyle çalışmasında pazarın sadece ekonomik değeri üzerinde durmamış. Hatta pazarın rolünü, ekonomik bir rol üzerinde durmuyor sadece ve rolünü 4 noktada inceliyor. Bunun ekonomik rolü olduğunu, siyasi rolü olduğunu, pazarın sosyal ve dini rolü olduğunu ifade ediyor ki bu da çalışmanın kapsamlılığını bize gösteriyor. Yani çok yönlü olarak pazarların fonksiyonlarını irdelemeye çalışmış. Bu çalışmada bunu görebiliyoruz. Ve kendisi de çalışma boyunca bu noktaların her birine vurguda bulunmaya çalıştı. Şimdi bir katkı da şu yönden dikkati çekiyor. Şimdi bu geleneksel kapalı çarşıların tarihi gelişimi üzerinde de değerlendirmede bulunmaya çalıştığını görüyoruz. Bunların başlangıçta nasıl bir yapıya sahiplerdi, süreç içerisinde nasıl bir gelişme gösterdiler. Burada vakit darlığından belki ifade edemedi ama ben çalışmada şunu görmüştüm. Örneğin geleneksel el üretimine dayalı ekonomi içerisinde buradaki tüccarın ya da esnafın üstlendiği rol ile seri üretime, yani fabrikaya dayalı seri üretime geçildikten sonra bu klasik pazarlardaki dönüşümü de örnek olarak kendisi çalışmasında ifade ediyordu. Belki vakit olsa burada da değinirdi. Dolayısıyla tarih içerisinde, tarihsel süreç içerisinde pazarların, geleneksel pazarların değişimine değinmesi de bir başka katkı olarak görülebilir. Tabii burada pazarların dediğimiz gibi iktisadi, siyasi, sosyal, dini rollerin üzerine değiniyor. Bunlara değinirken de kanıt olarak, kendisi tabii mimari alanda çalıştığı için pazarın lokasyonunu, yani şehir içerisindeki konumunu ifade ediyor. Gerçekten de geleneksel pazarların lokasyonuna baktığımızda şunu rahatlıkla görebiliyoruz. Bunlar şehrin merkezinde ticaret yollarının kesiştiği noktalarda, ki işte şehrin giriş kapılarından ana yollar var. Bu ana yolların tam birleşme, kesişme noktasında bulunuyor. Hemen yanında cami ve idari birimler yer alıyor. Ben bunu okuyunca işte bizim Kapalı Çarşı örneği de aklıma geldi. Gerçi evet, şehrin ana yolu üzerinde kurulmuş durumda. İstanbul'un fethinden hemen sonra bildiğimiz gibi Kapalı Çarşı kuruluyor. Fatih'in o zaman konut olarak kullandığı, dolayısıyla idari mekanizmanın yürütüldüğü, yani siyasi işlerin görüldüğü yerde, işte bugünkü İstanbul Üniversitesi'nin avlusunda bulunan Eski Saray dediğimiz yerde camide her ne kadar şu anki cami olmasa da mutlaka camisi de var, hatta hamamı da var. Dolayısıyla bütün bunların bir arada barındıran bir pazar, ki tarihi İslam şehirlerine gidersek hemen hepsinde de bu özelliklere sahip çarşıların, pazarların olduğunu görüyoruz. Muhtemelen İran'da da benzer özelliklere sahip, ki yani daha çok İran'ı örnek olarak burada ifade ediyor. Şimdi bir başka husus, çalışmanın katkısı olarak pazarın ekonomik değeriyle ilgili şu başlıklar da yararlanmış. Bunlar dikkat çekiyor. Örneğin pazarın sosyal medya ve sosyal sistem olarak değeri ifade edilmiş. Şimdi sadece burada Yegane'nin özellikle vurguladığı husus, pazarlar sadece mal değişimine aracılık etmiyor. Aynı zamanda en önemli iletişim merkezleri, noktaları ve haberin de hızla yayıldığı, bu haberler bazen doğru bazen yanlış dedikodu şeklinde de yayılabilir ama haberlerin de en hızlı şekilde, özellikle tarihi süreçte bakarsak edinildiği mekanlar, pazarlar. Dolayısıyla bu yönüne vurgu yapmış oluyor tarihi pazarların. Tabii biz bu sadece tarihi pazarlar için bu geçerlidir diyemeyiz. Bir başka vurguladığı nokta şu, mikro ve bölgesel fonlar üzerinde durmuş, ki mikrofonlar bu klasik kapalı çarşıların temel özelliklerinden biri. Çünkü esnaf yakın ilişki içerisinde, sadece esnaf değil, esnafın dışında buraya müşteri olarak giden kimseler de esnafla yakın diyalog içerisinde. Bu diyalog tabii mikrofonların yoğun bir şekilde bu tür pazarlarda kullanılmasını sağlıyor. Bunu ifade etmiş kendisi. Ve bir başka nokta sosyal sermaye üzerinde durmuş kendisi. Yani pazarların mimarisinin sosyal sermayeyi oluşturmada, ortaya çıkartmakta önemli bir katkısı olduğunu ifade ediyor. Yani bu da tabii tartışılması gereken, üzerine durulması gereken bir husus olarak görüyorum. Daha sonra işte vakıftan durdu, esnaf loncalarından ve pazarın şeffaflığından bahsedildi. Bu pazarların da, kapalı çarşının özellikle kurulma amacı vakıflara fon sağlamak. Yani vakıflara gelir sağlamak olduğu açık. Ama bunu mimariyle ne şekilde ilişkilendirebiliriz? O da bir başka tartışma konusu olarak ortaya çıkıyor. Pazarların mimari özellikleri olarak bu eleştirilerim noktasında buna daha detaylı değineceğim ama sadece birkaç noktaya değindiğini gördüm ben. Örneğin bunların merkezi yerde olması, yolların kesiştiği noktada olması, cami ve siyasi birimlerin bulunduğu yerde olması, su düzeninin, bitki çevre düzeninin diyelim ve buna benzer meydan düzenlemelerinin ekonomik değere, yine sosyal değere katkı sağladığını ifade etti ama buna çok kısa durmuş. İşte bu noktada eleştiriye geçebilirim. Şimdi bu çalışmada şu beklenirdi başlıktan da özellikle. Pazarın mimari özelliklerine yoğunlaşılması ve bu mimari özelliklerin pazarın değerine bir katkısı var mı? Sosyal ve ekonomik değerine bir katkısı var mı? Bu tespit edilebiliyorsa, varsa ne tür bir katkısı var? Bu husus üzerine yoğunlaşıldığı takdirde elbette ki çalışmanın katkısı bence alana, özellikle İslami ekonomi çalışmalarına çok daha yüksek düzeyde olacaktır. Ama burada şöyle bir sanırım zaman kısıtından, sınırından dolayı da çok fazla konuya bir anda değinilmeye çalışılmış. Çok fazla konuya odaklanmak tabii ki asıl konudan da uzaklaşmaya sebebiyet vermiş. Dolayısıyla konu aslında mimari özellikler üzerinde ve bu mimari özelliklerin pazarın sosyoekonomik değerine katkısı üzerinde yoğunlaşmış olsaydı çok daha güzel bir çalışma ortaya çıkabilirdi diye düşünüyorum. Hani benim aklıma hemen şu soru geldi. Yani mimari özellikler mi pazara katkı sağlıyor ve pazarın değerini arttırıyor? Yoksa pazarın değerine göre mimari özellikler mi ortaya çıkıyor? Yani ona göre bir mimari mi yapılıyor? Ya da benzer mimariler örneğin İslam şehirlerinin hepsinde görülebilir, vardır. Yani bunların pazarın işte ekonomik değeriyle ilgili ya da sosyal değeriyle ilgili ne tür ilişkisi var? Bunların üzerine biraz daha fazla odaklanılabilir kanaatindeyim. Yine bu geleneksel kapalı çarşılarda biz şunu yakından görüyoruz. Esnaflar, aynı mesleği yapan esnaflar hepsi bir arada toplanmışlardır. Örneğin sarraflar bir arada, ayakkabıcılar bir arada, tülbentçiler bir arada vesaire. İşte bunların böyle bir araya gelmelerinin pazarın mimarisi ve ekonomik değeriyle ne tür bir ilişkisi var? Örneğin yol sistemi, su sistemi, çevre düzenlemesi, ışıklandırması, yarı karanlık ve karanlık alanlardan bahsedilmişti. Bunlar ne şekilde dizayn ediliyor? Yine bunların bir arada çalışmalarının ne tür bir katkısı oluyor gibi birçok soru üzerinde derinleşilebilirdi. Ve mümkün olduğunca çok soruya cevap verme çabasının ben bu konuların üzerine yeterince gidilmesine engel olduğunu düşünüyorum. Sözlerimi burada tamamlıyorum. Sorulara geçebiliriz.
Thank you for nice discussion. We can. Do you have anything to respond to? Söyleyeceklerim bir şey. Okay. We can take questions in Turkish or in English, or comments, contributions. Please.
Şimdi bugünkü güzel tebliğlerden birisiydi. Dolayısıyla ben tebliği değerlendirmeyeceğim ama şunu da bir kayda geçirmek istedim. Bence workshop'un ileride kapsayacağı konulardan da bir nirengi noktası görevini görebilir. Bu Müslüman toplumların tarih içinde iktisadi alanda nasıl bir hayat yaşadıklarının bir tasviriydi, bir tahlili de olabilir. Bence bu önemli bir konuydu. Bu bakımdan takdirlerimi ifade etmek istiyorum. Güzel bir çalışmaydı. Tabii müzakerecinin tenkit hakları bakidir. Ben ona bir şey demiyorum. Fakat bu vesileyle başka talep gelmediği için ben zaten alma ihtiyacı hissettim. Şimdi gün boyunca mesela İslami pazarlama, işte İslami iktisat, bunlar lazım mı değil mi konusu birkaç kere gündeme geldi. Onunla ilgili müsaade ederseniz bir iki şey söyleyeyim. Çünkü ben yarın burada olamayacağım. Yani yarın sırası gelir söylerdim belki ama şimdi hatırlarsanız benim sunumumda ben Müslümanların eski Yunanlıların peripatetik felsefe geleneğini bünyelerine aldıklarını söyledim. Peripatetik felsefeyi İslami peripatetik felsefe diye almamışlardı dikkat ettiyseniz. Meşai felsefe demişlerdi ve herhangi bir dalına da İslami ahlak ya da İslami ilmi tedbiri menzil ya da İslami siyaset deme ihtiyacını hissetmemişlerdi. Bu önemli bir nokta. Müslümanların tarih boyunca diğer medeniyetler karşısındaki tavırlarında bu dikkat çekici bir tutumdur. Bu tespiti yaptım. Bu tarihi olarak kullanılabilecek bir referanstır. Günümüzde ise ben özellikle sosyal bilimlerde bilginin iki sınıfa ayrılabileceğini düşünüyorum. Bilgilerin bir kısmı bir bağlama bağlı bilgilerdir. Veyahut bir kontekst ile sınırlı bilgilerdir. O bir kontekstle sınırlı bilgilere o kontekstin adını vermede bir mahsur yok. Bilgilerin bir kısmı ise evrensel geçerlidir. Yani her yerde, her zaman, herkes için geçerli bilgilerdir. Onlara ise herhangi bir sıfat koymaya gerek yok. Mesela iktisat konusuna gelirsek, eğer bilginin ilgili olduğu kontekst, İslami bir kontekst ise ona İslami iktisat diyebilirsiniz. Eğer bir Budist kontekst ise ona Budist iktisat diyebilirsiniz. Sosyalist bir kontekst ise sosyalist iktisat diyebilirsiniz. Kapitalist bir iktisat, bir kontekst ise ona da kapitalist iktisat diyebilirsiniz. Bu şu demek, ilgili bilgiler sadece bu bağlamlar içinde geçerlidir. Onun dışına çıktığınız zaman geçerli olmayan bilgilerden bahsediyoruz burada. Eğer elde ettiğimiz bilgiler bir bağlamla sınırlı değilse, her yerde ve her zaman geçerliyse, o takdirde onlara İslami iktisat, kapitalist iktisat, sosyalist iktisat demeye gerek yok. Onlara doğrudan doğruya iktisat deriz. Bu tabii alışılmış bir ayrım değil ama bana göre eğer bu konuları konuşuyorsak böyle bir tasnif üzerinde düşünebiliriz. Yani bağlam bağımlı bilgilere o bağlamın adını, etiketini yapıştırırız. Buna İslami iktisat da dahildir. Bana göre İslami iktisat bağlam bağımlı bir bilgidir. Evrensel, geçerli bir disiplin değildir İslami iktisat. Ama onun ötesine çıkan her yerde geçerli bilgilere ise biz sadece iktisat deriz. O ise insanlığın müşterek malıdır. Çok teşekkür ederim.
Thank you for your contribution. Okay, that lady over there.
Ben çok kısa bir şey söyleyecektim ama hocam da
Tamam.
bir yorum yaptığı için ona da çok özür dileyerek bir şey söyleyeceğim. Ben şahsi kendi kanaatim, yani iktisat ve alt kolları gibi değil. Bence önce İslami iktisat var, ondan sonrakiler var. Yani iktisat İslami iktisattan doğmuştur bence. Bir de sizin Sayın Hocam Faruk Bey'in siz dediniz ki önemli yerlere göre önemli, yani ticari merkezlere göre önemli mimarlar mı yapılıyor dediniz. Yani bunda şahsi bir fikir belirtmek istedim sadece. Bence öyle bir ayrım güdülmemiştir. Ve hani yani güzel mimari her yere yapılmaya çalışılmıştır ve ona göre de o yerin değeri de artmıştır diye düşünüyorum. Sadece ufak bir fikir vermek istedim.
Tamam.
Cevap
Tamam.
ben önemli mimarlar mı yapıyor şeklinde ifade etmeliyim. Yalnız soru olarak şunu sordum, onu ifade edeyim. Yani pazarın, kapalı çarşının mimarisi mi ekonomik değerini oluşturuyordu ya da sosyal değerini? Yoksa ekonomik değer ve sosyal değer mimariyi mi şekillendiriyordu? Yani buradan mimari deyince aklıma bu soru geldi. Buradan gidilebilir diyelim düşündüm. Örneğin bizim kapalı çarşılara bakabiliriz. Mısır çarşısı yine kapalı çarşı. Bunların hepsinin aslında benzer mimari özellikleri olduğunu görebiliriz. Yalnız büyüklükleri farklı, hacimleri farklı. Hatta kapalı çarşı ilk kurulduğu zaman muhtemelen bu mimaride ve bu büyüklükte değildi. Muhtemelen değil. O şekilde zaman içerisinde gelişiyor. Hem mimari farklılaşıyor, aynı zamanda hacim olarak genişliyor. Ama Mısır çarşısı ise o formatta, kurulduğu dönemdeki formatta, biçimde, büyüklükte kalıyor. Bunun ekonomik değerle ve sosyal değerle ne alakası var? Bu sorgulanabilir gibi bir yaklaşımda bulunmuştu.
Teşekkür ederiz. Okay.
Okay. My name is Hamad Afandi. I'm from Northern University of Malaysia. First of all, please accept my apology because I couldn't get the point from even the topic itself. Are you referring to the physical state of architecture in between integrating the social economic values and the bazaar itself? Because from my observations, the bazaar has embodied everything included in here in the bazaar itself. Everything related to the economic is also is in the bazaar itself. You have mentioned about the wakaf. You have mentioned about the it's a microfund, right? You have also mentioned about the what do you call economic activity, social capital, and so on. To my knowledge, when we are referring to one institution, let's say it is considered as a market, then there are some views and there are some sort of against regulation in order to regulate this kind of thing, right? For example, in terms of social capital, it's not easy, and even it is not all the tasks in order to implement and to conduct the social capital, how we derive this social capital, how we understand and implement the social capital itself. It is not easy. Based on my empirical study to some countries, whenever we we come to the social capital, is like, you know, it's like you know, difficult task in order to come up with the social capital itself. And the second one is regarding the what they call microfund itself. If you are referring that bazaar is like a financial institution, then say it is like functioning like a financial institution where it has a financial intermediary, right? So whenever a bazaar, you know, has some sort of financial intermediary, that means it is like it's like financial institution itself. So I don't see the significant point of bazaar itself whenever you included everything about economic aspect in a bazaar itself. So my question back again, whether it is a theoretical part of your opinion or whether it is empirical ones. If it is empirical one, then, you know, I think bazaar is, you know, everything is about economics. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. I agree with you that in theoretical level, it is easy to understand the social capital or other things. I don't many knowledge about economics, and I only say futures and values of traditional bazaars that we can inspiration from them in new needs, and we can use these values and the concepts in new markets. I think our economics should try to use these concepts in this period, and in the past periods we have architecture that all aspects of life, like economical, social, and political, and other aspects are integrated together. And the main point of my paper is that in a new market we have to consider all aspects of the human life, and our markets, our bazaars in these periods only make for economical trends.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, please make them a little bit shorter. Hocam buradan. Okay. Mikrofon var hocam.
Şimdi özellikle İran'dan bahsettiler. İran ve bizim pazar kültürümüz çok önemli. Hele İsfahan'dan bahsettiler özellikle. Şunu sormak istiyorum. Her bir pazarın hepsi genel değil. Bazı pazarlar var ki çok genel. Bazılar var ki daha belli fonksiyonları var. Yani belli iktisadi faaliyetlerin daha yoğun yapıldığı pazarlar var. Şimdi buralardaki mimari o spesifik fonksiyonlara, pazarın işlevlerine özgü olarak görebiliyor muyuz? Mimariyi ayırt edebiliyor muyuz? Daha ziyade diyelim ki şu iktisadi faaliyetlerin yoğun olarak yapıldığı pazarlarda ona özgü bir mimari, onu çağrıştıran bir mimari var mı? Bunu gözlemleyebiliyor muyuz? İran'da ya da Türkiye'de gözlemleriniz bu var mı? Bir de bu mimarinin her bir pazardaki mimarinin o iktisadi ve sosyal içeriği, ya işte oradaki belli medreseler var, sosyal hayatı içeren bir takım unsurları, komponentleri var o pazarın. Onları gözlemleyebiliyor musunuz? O konuda bir şeyler söyleyebilecek durumda mısınız?
Medrese o mescid barəsində buyurdunuz.
Hı hı.
Onlar ictimai, sosial və iqtisadi dərvaqa qismətlərini buyurdunuz. Mən kamil anlaya bilmədim nə mənə buyurdunuz.
Şu şeyi kullansaydık keşke, bak şunu. Hocam evet yani ya
çevirecek mi yoksa
yok,
ben mi
eğer siz
deneyeyim?
tekrar edeceksiniz herhalde bir kısaca veyahut da İngilizce söyleyeceksiniz, bilemedim artık.
Okay. So there are different kinds of bazaars. Some are general. Some are specific to some specific economic transactions, economic activities, like leather or something else. So do you see some specific features of those architectures of bazaars? I mean, if the activity is like X kind of activity, so the architecture is that kind of activity. And so the second question is, there are, of course, different kinds of components of different bazaars. Let's say in Isfahan, for example, you see, what was the name of the bazaar of Imam Bazaar, the new name of that bazaar?
In Isfahan?
Isfahan.
Imam.
Yeah, Imam Bazaar, right? So when you look at that bazaar, it's general. You see different kinds of gills, right? You see in that bazaar. So, and when you compare that bazaar to the bazaar in Tehran that you mentioned, do you see differences in terms of their economic and social functions in terms of architecture?
My means about bazaar is only great bazaars that is once in one city. We don't have any bazaars in the same city. We have only one bazaar in one city in Iran. We don't have several bazaars in the same city. And when I told about bazaar, my means about traditional bazaar in Iranian cities that construct by Iranian architecture and are the specific architecture. Yes, they are specific uses such as mosque, rows, shops, and maidans and other uses, and I think, as you said, there are different bazaars, but we don't say about small bazaars or specific bazaar. We say about a general bazaar. When you say a bazaar, my means is general bazaar in the Islamic society. When we say Isfahan Bazaar, it is a specific bazaar, and it contains all of the city, and its construction spread in all of the city of Isfahan.
Okay, last question, gentleman there.
Well, thank you very much. Actually, you depicted us, supplied us a good panoramic picture of the Iranian bazaars. Well, we may regard you a good photographer, perhaps. But you know, your paper, inclusive of so many diverse, informations. So if you add a little bit more academic analysis into it, it will serve really better. Otherwise, I'm sorry to say this, but it will not differ from any information in a tourist handbook, about the Iranian bazaars. So please add something to make it more academic, and then we will really benefit from it. Saying this, well, if you let me, I have to, I guess, speculate on this addition of Islamic to several, terms: Islamic economics, Islamic marketing, Islamic this and that. Please let me say something about it. Huh?
If it is short, then we can. I mean, we have. Time is already up, but I mean, you guys can leave.
It's up to you.
Yes. No, go on. We're here.
Okay. Then, since most of the audience, perhaps would prefer this comment in Turkish, then let me have this comment in Turkish. Okay. Well, affedersiniz. Şimdi şunu ben önemsiyorum. Bakın.
İçeriden çevirdikleri için mikrofon lazım.
Şimdi İslami kavramını biz koymuyoruz ki kavramların önüne. Enternasyonel dil olarak İngilizce yazdığı zaman insanlar o kavramın İslam'a has olduğunu anlatmak için İslami kavramını onun önüne koydular hep. Ne demek istediğimi spesifik olarak bir örnekle ifade edeyim. Şimdi felsefeyle Müslümanlar karşılaşınca İslam'ın hakikaten kendi içinden, özünden gelen değerlendirmeleri ayrı bir ilim dalı üreterek adına kelam diyerek isimlendirdiler. Ama biz bugün İngilizce olarak buna Islamic Theology diyoruz mecburen. Yani ne diyelim? Kelam dediğimizde anlamıyor ki İngilizce konuşanlar. Şimdi iktisada da ne diyeceğiz İngilizce'de? İngilizce'de economics var. Economics dediğimizde bunun İslami olduğunu gösteren bir şey yok. Çünkü economics, hocamın buyurduğu gibi Yunan pratik felsefesinin etika, yani kişinin kendi nefsini yönetimi, onun bir üst sosyal birliği, oikonomia, yani plantasyon, Yunan zirai ekonomisini ifade eder. Bu çok o medeniyete has bir kavramdır. Oiko'yu yönetmeyi ifade eder. Onun bir üst sosyal, aynı zamanda artık siyasi nitelik kazanmış olan birimi de politika, polisin, şehrin yönetimidir. Şimdi evet bunu ilmi tedbirin nefs, ilmi tedbiril menzil ve ilmi tedbiril medine diye yeniden isimlendirmişler. Aslında bunlar mutlak tercümeleri değildir ki. Şimdi onların ayrıntılarına girmeyeceğim. Ahlak bile, hulk aslında onun arkasında bir yaratılış ifade eden bir şeydir Arapçada. Bir etnos, yani kişisel özellikleri salt ki bu Darwinist teoriyle bile birleştirebilirsiniz bunu. Ve ben oikonomiye geleceğim. Economics işte oikonomiye Yunan medeniyetinden alınıp batıya aynen aktarılan bir kavramdır aslında. Şimdi biz onu iktisat diye kendi medeniyetimizin içinden gelen bir şekilde tercüme etmişik aslında. Başına da İslam koymuyoruz. İktisat diyoruz. İktisatla ekonomi aynı şey değil ki. İktisat özüne giderseniz kast kelimesi ile ki ereksellik yani insanın dünyaya niye geldiği ve nereye gittiğini ifade eden bir kök ve kemiğin iliğini ifade eden kasit ile yani kemiğin iliğine varıncaya kadar hiçbir şeyi israf etmeyeceğiniz felsefesini ifade eden bir kavram. Kendi medeniyetimize has bir şey. Şimdi ben bunu İngilizce'de ya yine iktisat diyeceğim ya da Islamic Economics diyeceğim. Bana bir üçüncü alternatif söyler misiniz? Biz kendi medeniyetimizin kavramlarını ürettik. Her medeniyet kendi dünya görüşüne uygun kavramları üretir ve onlarla bilim yapar. Şimdi tedbir kavramını çeşitli şeylerin başına koyduklarında da Allah'ın müdebbir vasfına ve müdebbirül alem olan Allah'ın yeryüzünde halife olarak yarattığı insanın da onun emirleri doğrultusunda her şeyin tedbirini yapması gerektiği çağrışımları vardır bunlarda. Ya bunlar bütün dünya görüşünü yansıtan kavramlar. Şimdi basitçe biz her şeyin başına İslam getirerek onları İslamlaştıramayız gibi bir perspektifle bu arkasında tamamen yatan felsefeyi bir tarafa atmış oluyoruz. Bilmiyorum bunun farkında mıyız? Dolayısıyla o zaman iktisat diyelim ve bununla ne kastettiğimizi bilelim. Başına İslam falan getirmeyelim. Ben zaten getirme taraftarı da değilim. Yani bir de tembellik var. Şimdi biz yeni bir takım batıdan kavramları aldığımızda kendi medeniyetimizin içinden gelen yeni bir kavram üretmek yerine başına hemen İslam'ı getirip kullanıyoruz, sürüyoruz piyasaya. Yani şimdi pazar kavramı Farsça, Sanskritçe, Farsça karışık bir kavram bize girmiş. Oradan almışık, onun bir o dünya görüşünde kökü var. Türkçe'de çarşı aslında Türkçe değil ki. Çarşı, çehar, suk yine Farsça ve Arapça karışımı bir şeydir. 4 pazar, yani niye? Çünkü 2 tane ana yol kesişiyor. Kesiştiği yerdir çarşı, başka bir yer değildir. Sadece orasıdır çarşı. Onu bilmediğiniz zaman siz bugünkü marketlere de çarşı dersiniz ama onlar çarşı değildir aslında. O kelimenin bir kültürel arka planı var. Şimdi Türkiye'de başka ne var? Çarşı Türkçe değil, pazar değil. Peki market hiç değil. Piyasa İtalyanca, piazza şehir meydanı. Ya Allah aşkına bana bir tane Türkçe kelime gösterecek bir anlam kulu çıkar mı burada? Yok. Çünkü tembeliz. Kendi dilimizden bir kavram üretmemişik tarih boyunca. Bunlardan birini kullanacağım ben. Bunlardan birini kullandığım zaman o medeniyetin kültürel arka planı ile birlikte kullanıyorum bunu. Yani bu hassasiyetimizi de yitirirsek o zaman kendi medeniyetimizin bilimini yapamayız ki. Kendi evren tasavvurumuzu, alem tasavvurunu yansıtamayız. Dünya görüşünü kullanmıyorum bakın. Çünkü dünya görüşü de bizim medeniyetimizin kavramı değil. Biz sadece bu dünyadan görmüyoruz hadiseleri. O yüzden alem tasavvuru diyorum. Çünkü ben bir de öbür aleme inanıyorum yani. O yüzden kusura bakmayın, bu kadar kolaycı geçmeyelim. Yani tamam, Islamic marketing demeyelim. Peki ne diyeceğiz? Ne diyelim? Söyleyin, önerin bakalım. Bizim medeniyetimizi yansıtan bir kavram. Ama bunları düşünelim lütfen. Teşekkür ediyorum.
Biz teşekkür ederiz. Bütün katılımcılara teşekkür ediyoruz. We have